has just quietly started selling the new Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. Before that, the only way to get the keyboard was to buy the new M1 Mac, which was released 3 months ago. Now the new Magic Keyboard is available as a separate purchase. Apple has stopped selling their old small-sized Magic Keyboards from 2015, and they have replaced it with 2 new keyboards. The Magic Keyboard with lock key and the Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. I have the Magic Keyboard with Touch ID here for you today. And here it is. The packaging is clean and minimalistic. The picture of the keyboard is tilted, so if you are looking for a specific keyboard layout, you need to get really close to check whether it's the right one or not. There's not much else on the packaging. It is really thin, which is pretty beneficial for Apple, storage and logistics wise. And there's the Apple logo on the side. On the back it says Magic Keyboard with Touch ID again. There is a small picture here, which shows us where exactly the Touch ID button is. Under that there's a sticker which says this keyboard requires an Apple Silicon Mac running macOS Big Sur 11.4 or later. This requirement is why I hesitated before ordering this keyboard, since I am still using an older MacBook which does not run on an M1 chip or the newest macOS. I decided to just go ahead and order it and find out whether it's compatible with older Macs or not. I assume it's only the Touch ID function that won't work, but we'll test it later in the video, and let's unpack this guy first. The arrow on the back confused me, because it is packaged with the arrow on the back pointing to the right. So I thought pulling right would somehow open it up in a magical way, but it's actually just the pulling tab for dragging it out sideways. The keyboard sits directly on top of the box. We can use the pull tab to lift it up and use the same tab to open the plastic wrapper. I'm gonna set it aside first and look at what else we have here. The Magic Keyboard comes with a braided USB-C to Lightning cable, which looks pretty cool. And here's the manual for the Magic Keyboard. Let's remove this paper strip that's holding the manuals together. Maybe there's an Apple sticker in between. While removing it, I realized that except for the keyboard wrapper, everything else used for packaging is made from paper. I like Apple's commitment to sustainability. Sadly, there's no Apple sticker between the manuals. I like the small and handy packaging. Instead of throwing it away, I can use it for storing the keyboard when I need to take it with me somewhere. In there, the keyboard would be protected from lint and dust while it's in my backpack, and it's easy to open. Now, this keyboard does not come with a backlight. A lot of people were hoping for a Magic Keyboard with backlight. Apple probably thought that there are not enough use cases where an external keyboard needs backlight. So if anyone has a situation where it is needed, comment it below. The Magic Keyboard only comes in a standard aluminum color. I would have loved to have the option to choose a color. Apple does produce Magic Keyboards in different colors, but only in combination with an iMac purchase. I imagine that the coloring process during manufacturing can only handle a limited number of keyboards. If you do have an M1 Mac though, it is possible to contact Apple support to buy a replacement keyboard in the same color. The keyboard comes with a lightning connector on top. The on-off switch is in the top right. While the front of the keyboard is aluminum, the back is white plastic, with an Apple logo and 4 rubber feet. The design didn't change much compared to the previous Magic Keyboard. This is how the old Magic Keyboard looks, and the new one has more rounded edges and rounded corner buttons. The globe key icon has been added to the FN key. Repeatedly pressing the key allows you to change between different input sources like different keyboard languages or emojis. The launchpad key has been changed to Spotlight Search, which is a weird decision for me because Command Space has always been the default way for Spotlight Search. And now there is no key or key combination for the launchpad function. And they have added the dictation or Siri function to F5 and the Do Not Disturb function to F6. Apart from that, the rest of the function buttons stayed the same. And of course, they replaced the eject button with the Touch ID. While clicking these buttons, I realized that the Touch ID button is not like the other buttons. While the other buttons travel inside when you press them, the Touch ID button is just a solid block. It doesn't move in, but it does make an audible clicking sound when you press on it. It is a quiet keyboard, so it is fitting for an environment where you don't want to disturb others with loud typing noises. The key travel is sufficient to be able to type on it comfortably. I can effortlessly reach the function buttons, and what I really like about this keyboard is the fact that it is extremely flat. Some mechanical keyboards are kind of high since they have large buttons and more key travel. It becomes kind of uncomfortable for me to type on them without a pad I can put under my hands, but the Magic Keyboard is so flat that I can just leave my hands on the table. Let's take a look at the specifications of the old and the new keyboard. Compared to the old Magic Keyboard, the dimensions stayed the same. The new one is a little bit heavier though, even though it has less material on the corners, which is probably because of newer hardware. The biggest difference with these new keyboards is compatibility. The Magic Keyboard with Touch ID drops support for a lot of old Macs and is officially only compatible with the M1 MacBook Air, Pro, Mini and iMacs. But is it really not compatible with older Macs? I think it might probably just be Touch ID that won't work on older Macs. Now I'm going to find out. My laptop is a 13-inch Unibody MacBook Pro 2012, which I have been using for more than 9 years, because I was able to easily upgrade and repair it by myself. I upgraded to a 500GB SSD, changed the broken hard drive cable twice, and replaced the bloated battery once. All of these repairs together actually cost me less than this new Magic Keyboard. It's a shame that Apple doesn't make their MacBooks like that anymore. So first, the keyboard is turned on by flipping the switch to green. Then, in the Bluetooth settings, we can choose the keyboard and connect with it. Well, it seems like it does not work with older Macs. So I guess I should have believed Apple when they wrote that their keyboard requires the newest Mac. So, if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'm joking. I tried something else. I actually have a Lightning to USB-A connector here, which I can use to connect the keyboard physically with my computer. I'm opening the text editor to test the keyboard, and it does work. The letters work, the enter button works, space works, delete works, numbers and shift works too. The function keys do not work though. Nothing happens when I press them. Brightness control keys and the mission control key do not work. None of them do anything. The reduce volume key does something weird. It seems like it's mapped to the mission control key, but I'm not sure. And I'm not expecting the Touch ID button to work. A little bit later, I tried to connect the keyboard via Bluetooth again, and this time it did work. Maybe I had to connect it via cable first for Bluetooth to work, because I have not been able to recreate the initial problem. A keyboard icon will pop up to show that it is connected, the connection is stable, it does not disconnect or lag, and while typing, I do not notice any latency at all. The Magic Keyboard while connected via Bluetooth feels as reactive as my built-in keyboard. To examine all of the keys again, I opened the random keyboard checker. It seems like that the function keys are just mapped to the standard F1 to F12 keys, without the respective functions like brightness, playback or volume control. F11 is mapped to the mission control function, and the rest of the keys work as they're supposed to. If you have a newer-ish Mac that can run macOS Big Sur or later, but does not run on Apple Silicon, the function keys will work. The Touch ID button can only be used to lock the Mac though. I have put the links to the Magic Keyboards in the description below, so if you want, you can go check them out. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.